Hey guys, welcome back to the series for Let's Play Planet Coaster, and today we're going to be working on the scenery for Fireball. But before we do that, I have a couple announcements I want to make. The first thing that I want to tell you guys about is that I do play tennis for my club tennis team at Cal Poly, and we're going to be going to Orlando, Florida actually, and next week. So I won't be able to post as many videos in the coming week, but hopefully after that I'll be able to post a little bit more frequently. But yeah, ideally when we're there, I'd like to see Universal Orlando, and if I can, I think that would be some pretty good inspiration for making this park, even if I don't go as far as to do the same kind of level of theming that they do at their park. The other announcement I want to make is in regards to the park size, I think. So I was looking yesterday and I was just kind of curious. I was getting some inspiration from looking at other people's finished parks. And the one thing I noticed is that the computer setup that I have, I don't think it's necessarily terrible, but it is kind of more on the minimum end range of the game's requirements. However, I can make some pretty decent content. The only issue is that once the parks get really large, my computer struggles quite a bit to run it. I am running an old Sandy Bridge i5 2400, and that's probably not going to cut it when it comes to running a 10,000 guest full-size park. A lot of people with like newer processors from like the Kaby Lake even, a lot of people have issues with running large-scale parks, and that's including people with GTX 1080s and like some of the best graphics cards and processors out there. So the main point I'm trying to get at is that making this park, I'm going to try to be conscious about other people's setups as well as my own, because I know like it's going to be hard for people to enjoy this if like they can't see it at a higher graphics level, or if every time they run the park, regardless of whether it's low or high graphics, it just runs terribly. Like, I know that's going to be really rough on people, so I'm going to try my best to make sure that I limit the park's size, and maybe in some cases some details, just because I don't want this to be a park that people can't enjoy. The whole goal of this park is ideally to make something that people can enjoy, like regardless of what kind of computer they have. Because at least to me, like, that's the most important part in making this whole park, is to make sure that people can enjoy this park regardless of what kind of computer they have. So with those announcements out of the way, we can get to the actual content of the video now. You saw in the background that I started messing around with a lot of the different trees and trying to, I guess, diversify the foliage around the park, because I think, at least in most cases, when you go to like amusement parks, ones that do it well, at least, you'll see that a lot of places will try to they'll try to diversify their plants as much as they can, because that kind of gives a little bit more depth to the actual scenery itself, rather than having the exact same trees and plants everywhere. Now, I'll admit that at both Discovery Kingdom and Great America, they have plenty of eucalyptus trees, and that's an invasive species in North America. But hey, it's okay. Eucalyptus trees, they provide, well, lots of shade, kind of. They kill off a lot of the plants under them, but yeah, so on a different note, yeah, well, I tried to make sure that I made a lot of different trees to help, yeah, I guess create a little bit more diversification and all the foliage around it. But I also had seen something else, like you saw it earlier actually. I was working on a fence that was kind of interesting, and I had looked at a park yesterday, and the person had used that middle walkway thing as, or they tilted it sideways to use that as a fence for the cattle pen style queue line that they had. And I was like, wow, that's brilliant. I never thought of trying to do that, or I never even thought to use that piece like that. That's the kind of things that I like to see when I watch these, where I look at these videos of other people's parks, where I look at it myself. And that's kind of the whole idea about my own park making for this series, is that like those are the kind of things that I hope, you know, I can inspire or help people with, because I think showing that kind of stuff, or like doing that kind of experimental stuff, can be really, you know, like beneficial to everyone. Seeing those little things, those little like kind of tricks of the trade, I guess you might call it, that people do to create certain looks that you may not even think of. And then again, here I'm making another fence. I told you guys in another episode before that I don't really like making fences, but I thought that one came out okay. It looks kind of like something you'd see at amusement parks. They tend to have a lot of wooden fences, though I'll admit that they generally don't use wood beams that are that thick. But the crossing wood beams, I guess they look somewhat realistic in a park scenario. So yeah, I just kind of went with that whole look, I guess. And then I guess another thing that I wanted to point out, and I'm sure other people have seen this a lot, and I'll mention him again because, like, I don't know, Silverhead's always kind of been my idol for making parks and making stuff in Planet Coaster. But anyways, yeah, he likes to use a lot of the rocks for the planter areas, and I think that's always been like a really nice touch to a lot of parks. I don't know too many parks in real life that do it. I've been to like a couple that have done it, but like for the most part, most of them don't. But I think it looks really, really nice though. Like it's certainly believable, and so that's kind of why I do it too for this park, because I think it adds maybe not like a rustic touch, but yeah, it's like a little bit of a classy look to it. I also wanted to be a little bit more original when I created it too, so I kind of added the fence as well. But the other thing is, like, we all know, like, if you don't add fences around the garden area, at some point or another, you're gonna have some children, some very young people who are going to run through the bushes probably and destroy everything. I know it seems kind of like you shouldn't be doing that, but you know, bad parenting. You know, welcome to 2017. Anyways, let's try not to throw too much shade, but yeah, more or less, that's kind of also my incentive for putting the fences there too. Like, it just looks a little bit more realistic. Like, it's a positive outlook to think that we don't need fences, but you know, we do need fences, unfortunately. So on to a different topic, I guess. This isn't to like call out anyone or really blast anyone, but I do kind of notice that like some of the parks that I've actually seen, this is not to say that like, I mean, their parks look like amazing, probably better than what I probably built to like create, but I do notice that a lot of people kind of neglect a little bit like the terrain painting tool, and I feel kind of like, I don't know, it seems kind of weird. I would think that like most people would use it a little bit more, but some people just don't. Like, you notice like in the garden section for kind of like the bigger area, like the one that I worked on earlier, I kind of painted like the little leaves and stuff on the ground, because I mean, that's more or less what it looks like in real life. But yeah, I don't know, I just thought I'd point that out. Like, if you guys really want to make your parks look like as realistic as possible, adding that little terrain painting will actually probably make your parks look even better. Like, unfortunately, Planet Coaster doesn't render little grass blades. I mean, obviously we shouldn't be asking for that anyway, since our computers can barely run it the way it is. But yeah, because we don't have that, sometimes adding that texture will help give it a little bit more depth, even if it doesn't actually create any 3D objects on the ground. Like, it just looks a little bit more like, I don't know, it has more depth to it than just green. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. And then at this point, I started working on, I guess, the first aid area. And again, the disclaimer holds its value. I don't have great building skills, but I think it came out okay. I think I could probably add a little bit more detail to it, and you'll see at the end of this building that it looks fine. Like, it doesn't look bad, but I certainly think it could use a little bit more detail improvement. But you know, try not to call me out too hard on that one. I already know it's not fantastic, but I'll get there. I'll get better. The more I play, the better I'll get, right? I kind of went with like a little bit of an interesting like style. Like, I normally I just make kind of like square buildings, but I figured, oh, let's be creative this time, guys. Let's angle it so that it faces from two different angles. Like, oh wow, I'm so different. Like, no, not really, but I thought it was like, I don't know, it looks more like something you would see for the first aid office. I don't know, I mean, like, some look different. Like, there's really no go-to style for a first aid office, but I don't know, it looked believable. But you'll see later on that I started adding like the garden around it, and I think that actually turned out pretty well. There's a little like garden area in this, like the center of that little like circle space, that it's kind of like a little roundabout to go to the first aid area. But anyways, that little garden in the center, I didn't put any fences there, and the reason why is, as I had mentioned in another video, I'm waiting for the April update. There's a couple of fences in there that I think will look really, really well when I use it there, but because obviously I don't have it yet, I'm not gonna put those fences until I get them, right? But when it gets to that point, I'll start working all those small details out, and hopefully it'll look really, really good at the end. But yeah, to focus more back on the actual first aid office though, I did kind of feel like, well, I feel like this is kind of applicable for a lot of people. Like, I feel like a lot of players feel this way, but sometimes like these little offices and stuff like that, or like the bathrooms even, they have like this space where the building is that can't really be covered up, so I ended up having to use like little wood pieces to cover it up, because I don't know, it just looked kind of ugly with like the like really light blue spots, or like from the actual first aid building itself. I don't know, I just wanted to cover that up to make it like a little less obvious. But yeah, here actually is where I'm showing you the little roundabout area that I'm talking about earlier, where I said like I'll probably add the fences later. But yeah, I thought this garden looked pretty nice, like the little center area, and I started adding these little purple bushes everywhere. That's actually kind of like not a staple, I guess, in like the generic style parks, but I feel like a lot of them have that kind of bush. I don't actually know, like I'm not a botanist, I can't tell you what kind of plant it's supposed to be modeled after, but they seem pretty common. Same with these like bushes with like the little white flowers on it. Oh, and something else that I really wanted to talk about that just like really bugged me. I don't know if any of you guys also have this issue, but like sometimes when I'm trying to like use the little arrows on the advanced move section, sometimes like the arrows won't be like, I can't click on them. Like I don't know, I spent like, I don't know, probably 20 minutes trying to figure out like, how to click some of the blue arrows. I was trying to like drag it across like the Y or X axis, and I just couldn't, because like my cursor just would not like work. It was just like, okay, I'm trying to click this arrow but I can't. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have that issue, but I had that issue a lot during this building episode. So I don't know, hopefully like the speed up isn't as, it doesn't show it as much. But yeah, it was just really annoying. Like at some points you'll see me like zoom in as much as I can, and like there's no way, like I shouldn't be able to click it, but like I'm having this issue, and it's like, I don't know, hopefully that gets fixed, or maybe I'll just figure like a trick around it so I don't have to worry about it as much. But yeah, that was something that kind of bugged me a little bit when I was making this area, I guess. Well, like this whole episode just kind of bugged me. I was trying to make that, but it came out okay, I think. And I think speeding up doesn't make it as bad. But yeah, took a little while to finish it. Anyway, since the episode's kind of ending up sort of in like a little bit, I'm kind of curious though, like for some of you that comment on my videos, I'm kind of curious though, like what do you guys think so far? Like, I'm not entirely sure like if my park, it looks, I mean, I think it looks good, but I'm kind of curious to, or get other opinions from other people about my park and what they think about it, what I can improve on, or what they like about it maybe, or anything like that. Like honestly, like those kind of comments, regardless of what they are, I mean, it's kind of nice to be able to interact with you guys and see what it is that like you guys would like to see in future episodes, or things like that, right? And the whole idea with like Fireball, like, I don't know, at some point I'm probably gonna change that name, but we'll see. But at some point I'll probably also give you guys like a few POVs of like different rides and stuff, especially before like the park gets like too laggy. So I gotta make sure that like those roller coaster videos are like silky smooth and 60 FPS. That'd be really nice. But the only way I'll be able to do that is to start doing them now when like the park isn't too large. So hopefully I'll be able to start making those POVs somewhat in the near future. So during the time I was actually making this episode, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the left side of the park, or whether I wanted to start on it or not. Like right now, this is only the right side of the park, and literally we're only done with like the very first ride. I definitely have a plan for at least 4 or 5 other roller coasters and probably a few other rides probably, but I'm not entirely sure when I want to start the other side of the park, because I know for sure like that's all together, like all the rides that I probably want to put in here. Again, this is probably going to be more of a smaller park, focused more on detail rather than like super large parks like some people have made. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether I want to start the right or like continue the right side or work on the left side, but I guess we'll have to see. I'll kind of play around and see what makes sense. I think like, or I guess I can give you a little spoiler. I have an idea of what I want to put for the left side. I do kind of want to work on a wooden coaster. One of the people who commented on one of my videos like a little while back asked me to do more of a classic out and back style, and that's actually exactly what I wanted to do for something like this park. So we'll have to see when I'll be able to work on that, but that's kind of what I'm planning for the left side. But I don't know yet, so I won't tell you where that's going to be for sure, but I'm planning on it being on the left side, so we'll have to see. Maybe in the next episodes, maybe not, we'll have to see. But there's also another ride I'd like to make as my park weenie. I know that word. That is probably going to be like, yeah, toward the center of the park, and I'm not sure when I'll be able to work on that, but hopefully by at least like the 6th or 7th episode, hopefully. I actually don't know how many episodes this is going to be altogether, but I'm sure like the amount of episodes are going to be worthwhile, because you'll see the whole progress of the whole park, and I'm sure you guys will hopefully enjoy it. But anyways, this is pretty much the end of the episode, so I'll have to leave you guys again with some more cinematic shots, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.